being handled very badly. On top of that, our leaders continued the war even after they realized that we couldn't win it. But the worst mistake of all was that McNamara and President Johnson weren't honest with the American people about it. Oh yes, we have gone through this. By then, it was too late. Many would argue that McNamara's admission came 30 years and 58,000 lives too late. Oh. The cost of Vietnam was high, and not just in human lives. As the American people's trust in their leaders deteriorated, so did their willingness to follow them. Protests led to open rebellion and to society-wide turmoil. The era that had begun with the hope and idealism characterized by John F. Kennedy ultimately ended with the mistrust and cynicism associated with Richard Nixon. Whenever a leader breaks the law of solid ground, he pays a price in his leadership. McNamara and President Johnson lost the trust of the American people, and their ability to lead suffered as a result. Eventually, McNamara resigned as Secretary of Defense. Johnson, the consummate politician, recognized his weakened position, and he didn't run for re-election. But the repercussions of broken trust didn't end there. The American people's distrust for politicians has continued to this day. No leader can break trust with his people and expect to keep influencing them. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Violate the law of solid ground and you diminish your influence as a leader. Applying the law of solid ground to your life. How trustworthy would your followers say you are? How can you measure their trust? By how open they are with you. But by how open they are with you. Do they openly share opinions with you, even negative ones? Do they give you bad news as readily as good news? Do they let you know what's going on in their areas of responsibility? If not, they may not trust your character. How about your colleagues and your leader? Do they consistently put their trust in you? How do you measure their trust? By how much responsibility they entrust you. If you regularly carry weighty responsibilities, that is a good sign that you are trustworthy. If not, then you need to find out whether they doubt your competence or your character. Point number 2. Most high achievers spend time developing their professional skills. They seek to be highly competent. Fewer focus on their character. What are you currently doing to develop your character? Those are good questions. I don't want to just read them out loud and just move ahead, So I think for myself, and I invite you guys to do the same. Hello, Santi. And hello, Alejandro. So I'm reading the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Logic, okay? And let's reflect around this question so that we get more from the book. So, what are you currently doing to develop your character? Let's see. Well, I exercise, and I do that to build stamina, physical stamina, and to make a new habit. And I know that this has to be lifelong. I'm 35 years old. Maybe when I get to good results, I might get a bit lazy, but I know if I do that, my results will diminish. Yeah. Hi, Juliana. I'm reading a book for you guys, and we're thinking around the questions in the book. So what I'm doing for my character, hello, Nikita. I do that. I do those lives. Also, it's for my channel's monetization, for my mental development. I haven't read the book. So when I'm reading this not only for you, but also for myself. And this is one of the things which is important, yeah? Like stopping and allocating the content enough time so that we get the most out of the book. So, yeah. And how about you guys? What are you doing to develop your character. Okay, Juliana, you are free to go, and you're welcome to come by again. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, like reading books, listening to books, you can subscribe to my channel and come back later. Okay, my pleasure. I already read another book, The Art of Not Giving an the F word. I think YouTube doesn't like that, so I won't say it. You can access it in the playlists. I recommend that you focus on three main areas: integrity, authenticity, and discipline. Yeah, discipline, that's the word I was looking for. So I exercise. I used to exercise every day, just push ups, very little. So I want to keep things very simple, but I want to make it, turn it into a habit. I have alarms, three alarms actually, on my phone for my push ups, so that if I'm busy, I'm eating or something, and I don't get to do my push up when the first alarm hits, I have another alarm which reminds me of the push up 1 hour later, around 1 hour later. So that's for building character, stamina, strength, to avoid lower back issues, etc., etc. And so that's discipline. Integrity, well, integrity, yeah, I'm doing these live and I'm very honest, talking about things that are very personal, intimate. Some people are afraid of talking, and discussing these topics. For instance, I said that I'm an LGBT asylum seeker here. So, a lot of people are uncomfortable or afraid of, uncomfortable with that, afraid of speaking, etc., etc. So that's also, yes, developing my integrity and authenticity. Okay? To develop your integrity, make a commitment to yourself to be scrupulously honest. Oh, yes, that's important. Honesty is the best policy. This is the motto of my life. Yeah. Don't shave the truth. Don't tell white lies. And don't fudge numbers. Oh, yes. Those white lies, I know some people who are so comfortable with those white lies that lying is almost second nature to them, almost like a habit. I don't welcome it. I don't like it. Lying can be okay in very serious situations, but you shouldn't turn that into, your everyday life's part. Why would you do that? It's bad. It's also eroding your integrity, and I'm sure it will lead to lower self-esteem. And one person whom I know who uses lots of white lies, that person doesn't take good care of themselves, of their physical and mental health. And that person is pretty altruistic, pretty loving, but they don't take care of their body, their mind, their well being. I'm sure it's all interconnected. And the more you buy, even those so-called white lies, the more you feel like you feel more guilty, oh, I did it again. Oh, I lied. So, I'm not that kind of honest person who has integrity and I shouldn't live like that. You kind of go down the spiral slowly, and you sink in the world of lies and dishonesty and deterioration. You get worse mentally, emotionally, physically, ethically, etc. So don't do that. Be truthful even when it hurts. To develop authenticity, be yourself with everyone. Don't play politics, role play, or pretend to be anything you're not. To strengthen your discipline, do the right things every day, regardless of how you feel. Yep. And when I said that I'm an LGBT asylum seeker, actually, Alex Ryder already wrote his comments, gay AF, and I don't care, even if some people try to intimidate me or play homophobes or whatever. It's not my thing. So I won't hide. I won't fake stuff. I won't pretend. You know. And the last point 3. If you have broken trust with others in the past, then your leadership will always suffer until you try to make things first. First, apologize to whomever you have hurt or betrayed. If you can make amends or restitution, then do so. And commit to work at re-earning their trust. The greater the violation, the longer it will take. The onus is not on them to trust. Onus, I don't know this word, ONUS. Okay? The onus is on you to earn it. And if you have broken trust at home, start there before working to repair professional relationships. Okay? So this was the end of the sixth law, the law of solid ground. Now, the seventh law, the law of respect. And here's how it sounds. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Okay. Okay. If you had seen her, your first reaction might not have been respect. She wasn't a very impressive looking woman, just a little over 5 feet tall, in her late 30s, with dark brown, weathered skin. She couldn't read or write. The clothes she wore were coarse and worn. When she smiled, she revealed that her top two front teeth were missing. She lived alone. The story was that she had abandoned her husband when she was 29. She gave him no warning. One day he woke up and she was gone. She talked to him only once after that, years later, and she never mentioned his name again afterward. Her employment was erratic. Most of the time she took domestic jobs in small hotels, scrubbing floors, making up rooms, and cooking. But just about every spring and fall she would disappear from her place of employment, come back broke, and work again to scrape together what little money she could. When she was present on the job, she worked hard and seemed physically tough, but she also was known to suddenly fall asleep, sometimes in the middle of a conversation. She attributed her affliction to a blow to the head she had taken during a teenage fight. Who would respect a woman like that? The answer is the more than 300 slaves who followed her to freedom out of the South. They recognized and respected her leadership. So did just about every abolitionist in New England. The year was 1857. The woman's name was Harriet Tubman, a leader by any other name. While she was only in her 30s, Harriet Tubman came to be called Moses because of her ability to go into the land of captivity and bring so many of her people out of slavery's bondage. Tubman started life as a slave. She was born in 1820 and grew up in the farmland of Maryland. When she was 13, she received the blow to her head that troubled her all her life. She was in a store, and a white overseer demanded her assistance so that he could beat an escaping slave. Wow. When she refused and blocked the overseer's way, the man threw a 2-pound weight that hit Tubman in the head. She nearly died, and her recovery took months. Wow. At age 34, she married John Tubman, a free black man. But when she talked to him about escaping to freedom in the North, he wouldn't hear of it. He said that if she tried to leave, he'd turn her in. When she resolved to take her chances and go north in 1849, she did so alone, without a word to him. Her first biographer, Sarah Bradford, said that Tubman told her, quote, I had reasoned this out in my mind. There was one of two things I had a right to, liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would have the other, for no man should take me alive. I should fight for my liberty as my strength lasted, and when the time came for me to go, the Lord would let them take me. End of quote. Tubman made her way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, via the Underground Railroad, a secret network of free blacks, white abolitionists, and Quakers who helped escaping slaves on the run. Though free herself, she vowed to return to Maryland and bring her family out. In 1850, she made her first return trip as an Underground Railroad conductor, someone who retrieved and guided out slaves with the assistance of sympathizers along the way. 1849, it's not even that far away in history. A Leader of Steel. Each summer and winter, Tubman worked as a domestic, scrapping together the funds she needed to make return trips to the South. And every spring and fall, she risked her life by going south and returning with more people. She was fearless, and her leadership was unshakable. Hers was extremely dangerous work. When people in her charge wavered or had second thoughts, she was strong as steel. Tubman knew escaped slaves who returned would be beaten and tortured until they gave information about those who had helped them. So she never allowed any people she was guiding to give up. Quote, "Dead folks tell no tales," she would tell a faint-hearted slave as she put a loaded pistol to his head. "You go on or die." Between 1850 and 1860, Harriet Tubman guided out more than 300 people, including many of her family members. She made 19 trips in all and was very proud of the fact that she never once lost a single person under her care. "I never ran my train off the track," she said, "and I never lost a passenger." At the time, Southern whites put a $12,000 price on her head, a fortune. By the start of the Civil War, she had brought more people out of slavery than any other American in history, black or white, male or female. Wow. Increasing respect. Tubman's reputation and influence commanded respect, and not just among slaves who dreamed of gaining their freedom. Influential Northerners of both races sought her out. She spoke at rallies and in homes throughout Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Boston, Massachusetts, St. Catharines, Canada, and Auburn, New York, where she eventually settled. People of prominence sought her out, such as Senator William Seward, who later became Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State, and outspoken abolitionist and former slave Frederick Douglass. Tubman's advice and leadership were also requested by John Brown, the famed Revolutionary abolitionist. Brown always referred to the former slave as General Tubman, and he was quoted as saying she, quote, "was a better officer than most whom he had seen, and could command an army as successfully as she had led her small parties of fugitives." End of quote. That is the essence of the law of respect, a test of leadership. Harriet Tubman would appear to be an unlikely candidate for leadership because the deck was certainly stacked against her. She was uneducated. She began life as a slave. She lived in a culture that did not respect African Americans. And she labored in a country where women didn't have the right to vote yet. Despite her circumstances, she became an incredible leader. The reason is simple. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Everyone who came in contact with her recognized her strong leadership ability and felt compelled to follow her. That's how the law of respect works. It's not a guessing game. People don't follow others by accident. They follow individuals whose leadership they respect. People who are an 8 in leadership on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the strongest, Don't go out and look for a 6 to follow. They naturally follow a 9 or 10. The less skilled follow the more highly skilled and gifted. Occasionally, a strong leader may choose to follow someone weaker than himself. But when that happens, it's for a reason. For example, the stronger leader may do it out of respect for the person's office or past accomplishments. Or he may be following the chain of command. In general, though, followers are attracted to people who are better leaders than themselves. That is the law of respect. The more leadership ability a person has, the more quickly he recognizes leadership or its lack in others. When people get together for the first time in a group, take a look at what happens. As they start interacting, the leaders in the group immediately take charge. They think in terms of the direction they desire to go and who they want to take with them. At first, people may make tentative moves in many different directions. But after the people get to know one another, it doesn't take long for them to recognize the strongest leaders and to start following them. Leaders go their own way when a group first comes together. Soon people change direction to follow the strongest leaders. Okay. People naturally align themselves and follow leaders stronger than themselves. Okay. And here he has an interesting chart with numbers, those being the leaders of one, scale 2. Let me check the copyright of the book. If I may, I will share it. All rights reserved. No portion of the book, maybe. Recording, scanning, or others. Quotations. Okay, unfortunately, yeah, I cannot. All right. Yeah. Usually, the more leadership ability a person has, the more quickly he recognizes leadership or its lack in others. In time, people in the group get on board and follow the strongest leaders. Either that or they leave the group and pursue their own agenda. I remember hearing a story that shows how people come to follow stronger leaders. It happened in the early 70s when Hall of Fame basketball center Bill Walton joined coach John Wooden's UCLA team. As a young man, Walton wore a beard. It has been said that the coach told Walton that UCLA players were not allowed to have facial hair. Walton, attempting to assert his independence, said that he would not shave off his beard. Wooden's no-nonsense response was, "We'll miss you, Bill." Needless to say, Walton shaved the beard. Gaining respect. What causes one person to respect and follow another? Is it because of the qualities of the leader? Is it due to a process the leader and follower engage in? Does it occur because of the circumstances? I believe all of those factors can come into play. Based on my observations and personal experience, here are the top 6 ways that leaders gain others' respect. 1. Natural leadership ability. First and foremost is leadership ability. Some people are born with greater skills and ability to lead than others. All leaders are not created equal. However, as I've stated in the law of the lead and the law of process, every person can become a better leader. I will remind you guys that I'm reading the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership for you. And if you like it, send likes my way. Okay? If you possess natural leadership ability, people will want to follow you. They will want to be around you. They will listen to you. They will become excited when you communicate vision. However, if you do not exhibit some of the additional practices and characteristics listed below, you will not reach your leadership potential, and people may not continue to follow you. One of the greatest potential pitfalls for natural leaders is relying on talent alone. Respect for others. That's number 2. Dictators and other autocratic leaders rely on violence and intimidation to get people to do what they want. That's not really leadership. In contrast, good leaders rely on respect. They understand that all leadership is voluntary. When leaders show respect for others, especially for people who have less power or a lower position than theirs, they gain respect from others, and people want to follow people they respect greatly. Gaining respect from others follows as a pattern. When people respect you as a person, they admire you. When they respect you as a friend, they love you. When they respect you as a leader, they follow you. Hmm. If you continually respect others and consistently lead them well, you will continue to have followers. 3. Courage. One thing that caused everyone to respect Harriet Tubman so much was her tremendous courage. She was determined that she was going to succeed or she was going to die trying. She didn't care about the danger. Her mission was clear and she was absolutely fearless. Former US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger remarked, "A leader does not deserve the name unless he is willing occasionally to stand alone." Good leaders do what's right, even at the risk of failure, in the face of great danger and under the brunt of relentless criticism. I can't think of even one great leader from history who was without courage. Can you? A leader's courage has great value. It gives followers hope. Success. Number 4. Success is very attractive. People are naturally drawn to it. It's one reason that people in our society are so focused on celebrities' lives, cheer for their favorite sports team, and follow the careers of rock stars. Success is even more important when it applies to the people who lead us. People respect others' accomplishments, and it's hard to argue with a good track record. When leaders are successful in their own endeavors, people respect them. When they succeed in leading the team to victory, then followers believe they can do it again. As a result, followers follow them because they want to be part of success in the future. 5. Loyalty. We live in an era of free agency. Professional athletes hop from team to team looking for the best deal. CEOs negotiate ridiculously high financial packages and then bail out as millionaires when things go wrong. Mm, that's interesting. The average worker, according to one source, will change occupations 10 times by the time he reaches age 36. In a culture of constant change, turnover, and transition, loyalty is an asset. When leaders stick with the team until the job is done, remain loyal to the organization when the going gets rough, and look out for followers even when it hurts them, followers respect them and their actions. And the last one, 6. Value added to others. Perhaps the greatest source of respect for a leader comes from his or her dedication to adding value to others. Because I've already discussed this extensively in the law of addition, I probably don't need to say much here, but you can be sure that followers value leaders who add value to them, and their respect for them carries on long after the relationship has ended. Measure your level of respect. If you want to measure how much respect you have as a leader, the first thing you should do is to look at who you attract. Dennis A. Peer remarked, "One measure of leadership is the caliber of people who choose to follow you." The second thing you should do is to see how your people respond when you ask for commitment or change. When leaders are respected and they ask for commitment, their people step up and sign up. They are ready to take risks, charge the hill, put in long hours, or do whatever else is necessary to get the job done. Likewise, when respected leaders ask for change, followers are willing to embrace it. But when leaders who are not respected ask for commitment or change, People doubt, they question, they make excuses, or they simply walk away. It is very hard for a leader who hasn't earned respect to get other people to follow. One measure of leadership is the caliber of people who choose to follow you. Dennis A. Keir. A respected leader steps down. In October 1997, college basketball saw the retirement of a great leader, someone who engendered respect as he spent more than 30 years of his life pouring himself into others. His name is Dean Smith, and he was the head basketball coach of the University of North Carolina. He compiled a remarkable record while leading the Tar Heels and is considered one of the best to coach at any level. In 32 years as head coach at North Carolina, he won a remarkable 879 games. His teams recorded 27 consecutive 20-win seasons. They won 13 Atlantic Coast Conference titles, played in 11 Final Four, and won 2 national championships. The respect Smith has earned among his peers is tremendous. When he scheduled the press conference to announce his retirement, people such as Hall of Fame coaches John Thompson, whom Smith beat for the national championship in 1982, and Larry Brown came to show their support. Michael Hooker, the Chancellor of the University of North Carolina, gave Smith an open invitation to do just about anything he wanted at the school in the coming years. Even the President of the United States called to honor Smith. Wow. The leader must know he knows, and must be able to make it abundantly clear to those about him that he knows. Those closest to him respected Smith the most. But the law of respect can be best seen in Smith's career by looking at the way his players interacted with him. They respected him for many reasons. He taught them much about basketball as well as life. He pushed them to achieve academically, with nearly every player earning a degree. He made them winners, and he showed them incredible loyalty and respect. Charlie Scott, who played for Smith and graduated from North Carolina in 1970, advanced to play pro basketball and then went on to work as marketing director for Champion Products. Concerning his time with Smith, he said, "As one of the first black college athletes in the ACC, I experienced many difficult moments during my time at North Carolina, but Coach Smith was always there for me. On one occasion, as we walked off the court following a game at South Carolina, one of their fans called me a big black baboon. 2 assistants had to hold Coach Smith back from going after the guy. It was the first time I had ever seen Coach Smith visibly upset, and I was shocked. But more than anything else, I was proud of him." During his time at North Carolina, Smith made quite an impact. His leadership not only won games and the respect of his players, but also helped produce a remarkable 49 men who went on to play professional basketball. Included in that list are greats such as Bob McAdoo, James Worthy, and of course Michael Jordan. Not only one of the best players ever to dribble a basketball, but also a fine leader in his own right. James Jordan, Michael's father, credited Smith and his leadership for a lot of his son's success. Before a playoff game in Chicago in 1993, the elder Jordan observed, "People underestimate the program that Dean Smith runs. He helped Michael realize his athletic ability and hone it. But more important than that, he built character in Michael that took him through his career. I don't think Michael was privileged to any more teaching than anyone else. He had the personality to go with the teaching, and at Carolina he was able to blend the two of them together. That's the only way I can look at it, and I think that's what made Michael the player he became." Michael Jordan understood what it meant to follow a good leader. During the waning years of his career, he was adamant about his desire to play for only one coach, Phil Jackson, the man he believes is the best in the business. It made sense. A leader like Jordan wanted to follow a strong leader, one stronger than himself. That's the law of respect. It's just possible that Jordan's desire got its seed when the young North Carolinian, still developing, was being led and mentored by his strong coach, Dean Smith. If you ever become frustrated because the people you want to follow you are reluctant to, it very well may be that you are trying to lead people whose leadership is stronger than yours. That creates a difficult situation. If you're a 7 as a leader, 8s, 9s, and 10s aren't likely to follow you, no matter how compelling your vision is or how well thought out a plan you've devised. Mathematician Andre Weil observed, "A first-rate man will try to surround himself with his equals or better if possible. The second-rate man will surround himself with third-rate men. The third-rate man will surround himself with fifth-rate men. That's not necessarily by design or because weaker leaders are insecure. It's because of the law of respect. Like it or not, that's just the way leadership works. So what can you do about it? Become a better leader. There always there's always hope for a leader who wants to grow. People who are naturally a 7 may never become a 10, but they can become a 9. There is always room to grow, and the more you grow, the better the people you will attract. Why? Because people naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. We will end it here for today, and next time we'll continue with the law of respect, applying the law of respect to your life. Okay? And then after that, the law of intuition comes up. So that's it. If you like me reading those books for you, you can subscribe to my channel, send likes my way, leave comments under my videos, because those things helping you to get my future streaming sessions and not miss them. And also those things help me grow and grow the channel, yeah, and create the community of new intellectuals. Yeah. Thank you. High five to you all and see you another day. Bye bye.